This is me, Spoon Beast.
Okay. Earlier this evening, I got the chance to go see Avatar. And my general reaction? It was a freaking good movie. Now, let's see who it was made by. It was written and directed by James Cameron, who, in my opinion, is the man of sci-fi, okay? Absolutely amazing sci-fi director and even writer. He thinks up some of the best material for his movies. Let's take you back to when his career first broke out. The first movie he directed, I'm not going to count because it wasn't when he was a big-time director, like a big Hollywood director. It was when he was a low-budget filmmaker and he directed some sort of Piranha sequel called Piranha 2 or something like that. Nothing special. Nothing memorable. And then his career took off with The Terminator. An original movie that was not only stunning to watch, but also had a great story. And that story kept you compelled for the entire time you watched it. And in a lot of people's opinion, even in my opinion, The Terminator is what could be considered as a sci-fi classic. Absolutely awesome. And they even had Arnold in the right role of the film. He was a robot. That's what he sounds like, so, that's what he might as well be. And then after that, his career would soar to even better heights, as he was the man who was signed to write and direct a sequel to the film Alien that originally came out at the end of the 70s. Its sequel, that James Cameron wrote and directed, Aliens, came out in the early 80s and was a hit. And in my opinion, is one of the best sequels ever made. And again, another sci-fi classic from James Cameron. He then went on at the end of the 80s to direct the film The Abyss, which is a good movie in its own right as well. And then the 90s came. And wow, did he know how to start off that decade with a bang. He directed Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And in my opinion, in my humbled opinion, it is one of, if not the best sequel to any movie ever made. It completely overshadowed the first classic film. And again, like I'm going to talk about with the movie I just seen tonight, it had a compelling story with mind-blowing visual effects that blew everybody away. And those two great elements combined made it for how great of a movie it was. He then continued on with the 90s directing the action comedy True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. In my opinion, it's nothing special. But then, he knew how to end the 90s because he went on to direct and write Titanic. And it's his most critically acclaimed film to date. Won multiple Oscars. Even gave him Best Director. Got Best Picture. He stepped out of his game of usual sci-fi, because that's the type of movies he was used to doing, and stepped into a genre he didn't really know about. He stepped into a genre, romantic comedy. Comedy, listen to me, doy. 1 a.m., that'll do that to you. Romantic drama, because there's nothing really comedic about Titanic. Anyway, he stepped out of his element of sci-fi to go into romantic drama and succeeded beyond all reason, using his own image of what he thought the Titanic movie should be. And it was a success, and it is known as the highest grossing film of all time, raising, I do believe, over $1.8 billion. That's definitely an achievement to get if you're a director. And then, over 10 years later, we get Avatar. And let me just say, this film did not disappoint. For me, what I'm looking at a film is for it to have a good story, good effects, and just to be and that's mainly all a movie needs to be. It had that. This film was visually amazing to watch. I do believe that all of the Pandora planet scenes were all computer animated. And a lot of that stuff looked really authentic, like really real. Like the trees, the grass, the water looked amazing. The different, like just the weird exotic plants they had. The animals even looked realistic. Even the Na'vi people that live on the planet, those natives, the Na'vi, even they looked even realistic. Just all around, I do believe all of it was computer animated. All of it was just absolutely wonderful to see. It was just visually amazing to watch. The story itself was very compelling too, which is what, James Cameron's kind of known for. He was the mind behind the Terminator series, which is a compelling sci-fi story in itself. The story pretty much states that the U.S. military is on the planet Pandora to retrieve this sort of rock-like substance from a tree. The substance is underneath the tree, and they need to get to it. Because, it's really, that it sells for a lot of money back on Earth, and that's what they're there for. But the Na'vi, they live and inhabit in the tree, and they won't move for the government. They will not move. That's their spot. That's where they live. That's where their village is, and they're not moving. So the U.S. government takes it upon itself to have one of its Marines go inside what they call avatar bodies, which is these genetically engineered species bodies that are mind controlled by the humans through these machines that look like the Na'vi, and so that they can use that Marine in the avatar body to gain the trust of them and try and persuade them to move away. But what ends up happening is the guy ends up realizing it's wrong to trick these people. The government goes ahead and decides to attack because, they're impatient assholes is what they are. And he eventually helps the Na'vi. He learns all their ways during the process and then ends up helping them do a resistance, if you will, against the humans. And in my opinion, it's just a great story. And as I said, the visual effects were top-notch. Just James Cameron at his best, in my opinion. It was just a really, really good thing to watch, and I enjoyed every second of it. I just thought it was funny how mainly every character treated the main character so bad. I just thought that was a little bit funny. Even though I was just like, wow, they're acting pretty douchey to him. But that's just what I've seen. Sorry for rambling there for a second. But as I said, the movie was visually stunning, had a great story, and isn't that all you really need from a film? And when it was done, the whole packed theater that I was in gave it a round of applause. And that's the first movie I've seen in a while where after it's done, the crowd's just like, damn, was that awesome, and gave it a round of applause. As it was just a really, really fun experience to watch. James Cameron at his best again, like usual, just delivering another sci-fi classic. Is it in the running for Best Picture? Maybe. But I'll talk about Oscars when that comes a little later, in a few months or so. But yeah, if I were to give it a score, it'd be a 5-star movie, and I'd recommend you checking it out. Definitely a great watch, if you will. A great movie. I recommend it for anyone who's a fan of James Cameron, a fan of sci-fi movies, or would just like to see a cool movie in general. Great film. Hope you enjoyed what it will be known as my first movie review, as well as my 100th video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and Spoon Beast out.